We have put so much effort into making it difficult for you to choose a laminate. Yeah, you heard that right. We've given you way too much choice. Over 700 permutations and combinations. It's not easy to choose from this ocean of colors and textures. But fear not. That's why we've made this video, to help you with this decision. Let's start with basic categorization. Laminates can be broken down by their texture and their decorative base. With texture, you can choose from a matte, glossy, or a high gloss finish, which is an extremely reflective surface. When it comes to the decorative base, it could be a solid color, a pattern, or even simulated wood grains or stone. Today, we're going to share 12 design tips to guide you through this selection process. Tip number 1. Solid colors can be paired with other solid colors to create pleasing combinations. But never make the mistake of using two solid pop colors in the same kitchen. If one is a pop shade, the other should be a subtle shade. Too much pop, time to stop. Take Justin Bieber for instance. Tip number 2. If you've frozen on a pop color for your cabinets, then it's best to go with a lighter tone on your countertop and your dado area. Dado, by the way, isn't some term to encourage fathers in the kitchen. It refers to these tiles above the countertop. Tip number 3. Go for a darker, solid color on your base units. This is normally the section of your kitchen that is used the most and is prone to getting dirty. Your top cabinets aren't as frequently used. You can go with a lighter tone on them. Tip number 4. Pair a solid with a light-toned wood grain. This gives you this classic Scandinavian feel that is really classy. Tip number 5. Similar to the rule in clothing, horizontal wood grains make things look wide, which may not be great for your hips, but is ideal for making a kitchen look bigger than it is. Vertical wood grains create an element of verticality. They create a sense of exaggerated height and therefore are ideal for a wardrobe. Tip number 6. If you are leaning towards using a pattern, pair it with a solid color. It will balance things out. If your dado tiles have a distinct pattern, do not make the mistake of using a pattern on your cabinets. That will look awful. Again, just like with clothing, don't mix different patterns. Tip number 7. If you are dealing with a small space, stick to small patterns. Large patterns will make the space feel tinier. Tip number 8. Choose a color that either matches your dado tiles or is a slightly darker shade of them, or even a complementary color that pairs well with them. Tip number 9. Now, if you are someone who has a lot of unused electronics from 2006 or bags of clothes that you don't fit in anymore, you need a loft to store them. With a loft, use lighter tones that blend and merge seamlessly with the wall, or you're going to end up with a bulky looking eyesore that makes your room look cramped and tiny. Tip number 10. You could also play with monochrome colors. You could use the same color across all surfaces and instead play around with texture. Have your cabinets in a matte and your tiles in a high gloss finish, for example. Tip number 11. This tip goes beyond aesthetics and enters the domain of practicality. It's best to use glossy, solid colors for the wall units. This is because the wall cabinets are most affected by oil splatters from the counter. Glossy, smooth surfaces are easier to clean. Tip number 12. The last tip is to fall back on a timeless classic. Whites, grays, and browns. You can't go wrong with this combination. Now, of course, you will have a designer who will guide you through this entire process, but these tips can come in handy. Have fun with them. This is actually the exciting part of this entire process for you.
Stop eating the props, man.